Welcome to the last video in this section, as well as the unit. Here we're going to draw a circle graph. Now before we do that, let's have a look at this example. Jordan wanted to draw the following circle graph. Find the measure of each central angle in degrees. So if Jordan wanted to draw this on a sheet of paper, he would need to know how big to draw each sector. So he would need to know the measure of this angle, and so on. So we can use the fact that there are 360 degrees in a circle to help us. What we can do is multiply each percent by 360 degrees, and that will give us the angle we need. So here we have 4 eye colors. Let's start with blue. Now blue is 20%. 20% of the people surveyed had blue eyes. So if I want to change that to a decimal, I can divide that by 100. 20% divided by 100 is 0.2. Now multiplying that by 360 degrees, I get an angle measurement of 72 degrees. Now for brown, that's 55%. Dividing that by 100 gives me 0.55. Now I'm going to multiply that by 360 to give me an angle measurement of 198 degrees. Now green is 10%, which is 0.1 as a decimal. And 0.1 multiplied by 360 is 36 degrees. Lastly, we have hazel. That is 15% or 0.15. And multiplying that gives me 54 degrees. So now you should always check your answer. You should add up the angles to see if they total 360 degrees. And if they do, then you did it correctly. So now Jordan can use his protractor to help draw each angle for his circle graph. Before we draw a circle graph, let's look at this note. If you're given data and no percentages, you can use a chart to help you organize your data and determine the angles you need to draw a circle graph. So let's have a look. Here we have a survey of 124 people that was conducted to determine their favorite holiday. Represent the data as a circle graph. So here's the data we're given. And organizing this in a chart like this can help us easily determine the measure of each angle. So 56 people that were surveyed chose Christmas as their favorite holiday. 12 chose Chinese New Year. 26 chose Ramadan and Eid, and so on. So now I'm going to make my chart a little bigger, so I'll have some room to fill this out. So 56 of the 124 people surveyed chose Christmas as their favorite holiday. So I can write that like this as a fraction. Do the same thing for Chinese New Year. 12 of the 124 people chose Chinese New Year, so as a fraction, we write it like this. Now for Ramadan, we have 26 over 124. In general, you just need to take how many people chose each holiday and divide that by the total number of people, 124. Now we were told this number in the question, but if you weren't, you can simply find that by adding up all the people that were surveyed. So 56 plus 12 plus 26 plus 13 plus 17 gives you a total of 124. So that's how you can figure out the bottom number in your fraction. Now for the decimal, we'll use our calculator. We'll divide 56 by 124 to give us 0.45. Then we'll do 12 divided by 124 to give us 0.1. So now try putting each of these into your calculator to see if you get the same values as I have here. And note that some of these values did have to be rounded. Now in terms of the angle, we'll do what we did in the first example. Multiply the decimal by 360 degrees. So for the first one, I get 162 degrees. Now 0.1 times 360 is 36. 0.21 times 360 is 76, and so on. So as mentioned in the first example, I'm going to double check these angle values before I draw my circle graph. So now adding them all up, I do indeed get 360 degrees. So let's move on to drawing our graph. So you can start off by drawing a circle. You can use a compass or trace a round object, but you do need to know where the center is. And you can start by drawing in your radius, because you need somewhere to put your protractor. So I'm going to have my angle measurements here so I can refer to them. So now placing a protractor on that line, on the radius, I'm going to measure an angle of 162 degrees. So I'm going to color that green now and make sure I correspond that with Christmas in my legend. Now I'm going to place my protractor on this line, and I'm going to measure 36 degrees, which is here. Now I'll place my protractor here. So you have to move your protractor each time. After you draw each sector, you place it on the new line. So measuring an angle of 76 degrees, I get this. Now for Easter, I'll place it on this line and measure 36 degrees. Now the last one should be 50, but use your protractor anyways, just to be sure. So now we're pretty much done our circle graph. We just need to include a title and a legend so you know what each sector corresponds to. So that concludes this lesson. You have finished all the videos in Unit 4, so now you can complete the activities.